This is Booked for Drama, where stories burn, hearts break, the tea is always hot and never a part two. Today we're diving into Bitter Was the Love, Quiet Was the Goodbye by Perfect Timing. Let's go. Chapter 1. When I woke up choking on thick smoke, I instantly realized I had been reborn. My eyes darted around as I looked for Hades Emerson, and sure enough, he was trying to break down a door to save his non-biological niece, Olivia Emerson. "Hades," I shouted. He looked at me, unhappy, but he didn't stop moving. "You won't be able to talk me out of it. Although Olivia and I aren't related by blood, she sees me as her uncle. I have to take responsibility for her well-being. You can leave if you want, but I'm not going anywhere. And if you don't intend to help, then don't stay here just to get in the way." In this life, instead of stopping him, I readily agreed. "All right." Hades froze, momentarily stunned, but quickly snapped back to his senses and continued trying to break down the door. I didn't hesitate any longer and rushed out of the building. Half an hour later, Hades emerged carrying Olivia in his arms. I noticed sharply that he was limping, and blood was pouring from his left knee. Still, he didn't spare me a glance as he lifted Olivia into the ambulance. In my past life, a fire broke out at the hotel on the day of our wedding. Because of the intensity of the flames, I had stopped Hades from going in to save Olivia, causing her to die in that fire. Hades hated me for it, and by extension, he hated our son too. On our third wedding anniversary, which also marked the anniversary of Olivia's death, Hades tricked me and our son into going on a diving trip. Then, he secretly removed our oxygen tanks. I begged and pleaded with him to spare our son, offering my life in exchange. But he only watched as both of us suffocated to death. It was only then that I realized that Hades had always loved Olivia. So this time, I didn't stop him when he insisted on charging into the fire to save her. That same day, I applied to volunteer as a teacher in a rural school in the mountains. The principal was slightly emotional as he asked, "Cassie, you've just gotten married. The volunteer program lasts at least 3 years. Are you sure about this?" "I'm sure. I'll report to the new school in 7 days," I replied without hesitation. In this new life, I decided to walk away and give Hades and Olivia my blessing. Chapter 2. I had only minor injuries, so my wounds were treated quickly. Olivia hadn't woken up yet, and Hades refused to leave her side, ignoring his own injuries in the process. Even the doctors couldn't stand it anymore and asked me to try talking some sense into him. One look at his knee told me it had stopped bleeding, but its shape looked distorted, and the injury seemed dislocated. I said, "The doctor says your leg injury is serious. Why don't you let them take a look while I stay with Olivia?" Hades glared at me, annoyed. "I'm a man. What can a small injury like this do to me? Besides, Olivia will probably cry if she doesn't see me when she wakes up." I clicked my tongue. Olivia was already 20 years old and no longer a child who cried at everything. She loved clinging to Hades, calling him flirtatiously. Even when Hades and I were married, she never held back. She would spark fights between us and fuel the tension. We'd argued over her countless times. Hades always called me petty and narrow-minded for being annoyed by a young woman. He would even accuse me of being dirty-minded for questioning their uncle and niece bond. He claimed he'd raised Olivia since she was 7, and that she was accustomed to relying on him. Thinking of that, I gave up trying to convince him to get his leg treated. He looked at me impatiently and snapped, "You've already had your wounds treated, so what are you still doing here? Go home and make some soup for Olivia. She'll be hungry when she wakes up. Make her favorite chicken soup. No peppers. Go easy on the salt. She's injured, she needs something light." I gave him an exasperated look. "Order takeout. I'm injured and exhausted. I'm not going to drag myself home just to cook." Hades frowned, about to say something, but Olivia stirred awake. She called out weakly, "Hades." He immediately dragged his injured leg to her bedside and exclaimed, "Olivia, you're finally awake. You nearly scared me to death. You've been under my care since you were 7. I raised you into a fine young woman. I don't know what I'd do if something had happened to you today." Tears welled up in Olivia's eyes. "Don't cry, Hades. I'd never leave you. I swore on my 18th birthday that I'll stay by your side forever. Even if you don't understand my feelings, just know I'll never walk away from you." Hades quickly grasped her hand and placed it against his cheek. "I understand. I really do. It's just that in this life. Don't worry, Olivia. I will never abandon you, and no one can stop me from taking care of you." Then he turned to me sharply and ordered, "Cassandra, go home and make chicken soup for Olivia. Why can't you be more thoughtful and caring like her?" "Hades," Olivia called softly. She reached up and gently covered his mouth with her hand. How can you speak to Cassandra like that? If she doesn't want to cook, that's fine. I'll go hungry. I don't want either of you fighting because of me. Hades couldn't bear seeing her look so hurt. His expression darkened as he turned to me and roared, Cassandra, did you not hear me? If you refuse to cook chicken soup for Olivia, forget about the postponed wedding next week. Think twice. You've dreamed of this wedding for 5 years. I would have caved instantly had he said that to me in my past life. But this time, I looked at him calmly and replied, fine. Then let's cancel it. Chapter 3. When I returned home, I immediately began sorting through my belongings and mailing them to the school's address where I'd be volunteering. When Hades came back and noticed how empty the house looked, he frowned and asked, why is so much stuff missing? I answered nonchalantly, oh, I donated them all to the rural villages. What do you mean you donated them? We bought all those decorations for our new home, and Olivia handpicked every one of them. He was clearly upset, but his tone and expression softened as he considered my feelings. Forget it, you're the lady of the house, so you have the final say. With that, Hades headed into the kitchen. It turned out he had returned home to cook some soup for Olivia. An hour later, he limped out of the kitchen with a small smile. Here, I made an extra bowl just for you. I shouldn't have lost my temper with you in front of Olivia. I was just so anxious about her injuries. I hope you won't hold it against me. I knew Hades was trying to make peace. He always followed up his insults with a sweet gesture. The sad part was that I'd indeed fallen for those underhanded tactics more times than I could count. When I didn't touch the soup, he inched closer with a playful smile. Are you waiting for me to feed you? Are you still mad at me? I quickly put some distance between us, repulsed by his attempts at sweetness. Once he realized I wasn't reacting the way I used to, his embarrassment turned to anger. Cassandra, are you still not over it? Don't tell me you're still suspicious of my relationship with Olivia. I've already told you countless times that Olivia's my niece. She only said those things on her 18th birthday because she was drunk. You were there, and you saw me reject her. I even punished her afterward. Olivia's still young, so of course she'll make mistakes. What matters is that she learns and grows. Are you really going to condemn her forever because she momentarily had inappropriate feelings for me? Cassandra, I'm not trying to preach, but you should forgive and forget. Stop making things worse. Olivia's already had a change of heart. She even helped design our wedding invitations. I lowered my head and scoffed. How could he have dared to bring that up? Olivia was an art student studying design. Back then, she offered to design our wedding invitations. But in the first draft she showed us, she'd used an intimate photo of herself and Hades. She'd photoshopped herself wearing my wedding dress and listed herself as the bride. When I brought the invitation to Hades and questioned him, he stayed nonchalant. It's just a draft. We'll change the photo for the printed version, and your name will be listed as the bride. Olivia was just trying to help. She probably used her photo and name for convenience. The wedding was close, so I swallowed my anger. But I had missed the joy on Hades' face when he saw that invitation. Looking back now, a sharp pain pierced my heart. He already had those feelings for Olivia, even back then. However, it didn't matter anymore. After all, I was leaving soon. Chapter 4. Hades pushed the bowl of soup toward me, clearly displeased. Cassandra, since when did you become so unreasonable? Don't you want to go through with the wedding ceremony? It's the wedding you've been dreaming about for 5 years. Or are you trying to push me toward Olivia so that your groundless suspicions turn into reality? Be good now and finish this soup, all right? I brushed him off, not wanting to start an argument or stir unnecessary trouble. I knew he was using the wedding as a threat, trying to force me to bend to his will. He had always loved manipulating me, but I refused to give in anymore. Still, I didn't show how I felt. I simply told him I'd drink the soup once it cooled down. Satisfied, assuming I'd yielded, Hades got up and walked into Olivia's room. I could hear him speaking on the phone through the slightly ajar door. I've found the white lace and pink mesh ones. I can't seem to find the black silk set you mentioned. It's in the bottom drawer? Oh, found it. But when did you buy this black silk set? Why didn't I know about it? Olivia laughed flirtatiously on the other end of the call. Meanwhile, Hades lifted the black silk lingerie to his nose, sniffed it, and smiled contentedly. I stood outside the door, a wave of disgust rolling over me. When he noticed me, he walked out looking uncomfortable. Don't overthink things. Olivia needs to stay in the hospital for a week, so I'm bringing her a change of clothes. She's allergic to those disposable underpants. Then, he handed me a bag from the floor and ordered, these are Olivia's undergarments. Wash them for me. Make sure they're clean, and hang them on her rack by the balcony. Frowning, I didn't take the bag. Seeing my reluctance, Hades snapped coldly, Cassandra, I've really spoiled you. How can you be so useless? You can't even do something this simple? If you won't wash them, I will. I've been washing her underwear since she was a child. Honestly, I don't want your dirty hands contaminating her clothes anyway. With that, he took the bag and limped into the bathroom. When he emerged, he said coldly, I'll be staying with Olivia while she's in the hospital. In 7 days, we'll have our wedding do-over. Just stay home and behave until then. Don't cause any trouble. You know I can cancel the wedding with a flick of my fingers. I nodded and watched him leave. That day, Olivia posted a photo on social media. It was a picture of a pair of suggestive purple lingerie placed on the white hospital bed. The caption read, Hades gifted me this new set. He says he knows my size like the back of his hand. Smiling, I liked the photo and took a screenshot of it. For the next 6 days, she continued flaunting their relationship online. But on the last day, her tone shifted. To save me and care for me, Hades' injured leg went untreated for too long. He's now disabled for life. But it doesn't matter. I'm willing to take care of him forever. I hadn't been sitting idle. For the past few days, I'd been slowly erasing every trace of myself from the house. On the day of our wedding do-over, I placed the wedding dress in Olivia's room and sent all the screenshots to Hades. Then I blocked his number, grabbed my luggage, hailed a cab, and headed straight to the airport. Chapter 5. Once the plane landed, I had to travel quite a distance before finally arriving at the school where I was volunteering. The surroundings were simple and basic, but the fresh mountain air helped me relax completely. The next day, I stood inside the drafty classroom and smiled gently at the innocent, slightly dirt-smudged faces gazing back at me. I adapted quickly to the environment. I spent my mornings and afternoons teaching students in 3 different grades, then came home to cook dinner after work. There was no cafeteria in the school, so if I wanted to buy anything, I had to hike down the mountain to a nearby town. Soon, I got to know the other teachers in my dormitory. Most had signed the minimum 3-year commitment and were counting the days until they could return to their hometowns. I was the only one who had signed a 10-year contract. In fact, I was beginning to consider staying permanently. In my 2nd week, a newly arrived volunteer resigned and returned to the city, unable to cope with the harsh conditions. Due to the severe shortage of staff, the principal, Tobias Grant, reassigned that teacher's classes to me. I was swamped but fulfilled. Spending each day with those bright-eyed children brought me genuine joy. Still, I never expected Hades to find me after just 1 month. That day, I had just finished teaching my last class when a student came to tell me a disabled man had been standing outside the school for quite a while. I froze momentarily, but the answer was obvious. When I stepped outside, there he was, Hades, looking exhausted and clearly drained from having limped all that way. Upon seeing me, his eyes reddened as he hobbled toward me. Cassandra, why did you leave without saying a word? Why didn't you wait for me to go home and hold the wedding? Why did you give Olivia your wedding dress? His voice trembled with sorrow at first, but by the end, his expression blazed with rage. I couldn't believe the audacity behind his questions. I sneered and replied, why? I simply stepped aside so Olivia could take my place. That way, your precious uncle and niece relationship can finally see the light of day. Hades looked stunned, unable to believe what he was hearing. Pointing at me angrily, he roared, what nonsense are you spouting? How many times do I have to tell you that there's nothing going on between Olivia and me? I raised her into the woman she is today. I see her as my niece. Scoffing, I replied coldly, nothing is going on between you two? How can you say that when you wash her underwear? You've even given her suggestive lingerie. You're much more intimate with her than you ever were with me. So, don't you dare claim innocence. Hades, you disgust me. Leave, I don't want you dirtying this school compound or corrupting the ears of these children. Hades laughed in disbelief, staggered back 2 steps, then regained his balance. Cassandra, how can you accuse me like this? I've told you that I love you when you're obedient. But this aggressive, irrational version of you? I can't stand it. Also, I haven't even confronted you about how you photoshopped Olivia to slander her. What right do you have to twist everything and blame me? I had photoshopped Olivia and slandered her? What? I immediately realized that Hades must have questioned Olivia about the screenshots I'd sent him. No doubt she cried bitterly and accused me of lying. Hades had never been able to resist her tears. He always believed her, always assumed I was the liar. Things had played out the same way, but I didn't care anymore. His blind faith in her would only bring him pain in the long run. As for me, I was free. I no longer had anything to do with him. Chapter 6. Frowning, I looked at him in annoyance. I still had to return to the dorms to cook dinner. It was my turn that night. Fine, I was the one who had framed Olivia. Are you happy now? Hades, I work here now. So could you please leave? Also, we are done, so please don't come here ever again. Hades looked wounded, his eyes brimming with tears. Are you breaking up with me over a bunch of misunderstandings? I've told you already. Olivia is my niece, nothing more. If she has feelings for me, that's her business. I've never led her on. Cassandra, I don't agree to a breakup. You can't just claim that we've broken up. I don't accept it. I came here to bring you back for our wedding. We haven't had our redo yet. Furious, I chuckled and shouted, Hades, you know how you really feel about Olivia. As for us, we're over. I turned and walked away, heading back to the dorms. His crippled leg prevented him from catching up. But every day after school, he waited outside my classroom, refusing to leave no matter what I said or did. To make matters worse, he donated a large quantity of supplies to the school under my name. When the village head learned about it, he insisted on organizing a public assembly in my honor. And then, Hades went around telling everyone that he was my fiancé and had come to take me back for our wedding. What infuriated me most was the scene he caused in Tobias' office, trying to pressure him into ending my contract early. When I walked in, I overheard Hades threatening Tobias. Mr. Grant, if you won't let her go, I'll escalate this to the Board of Education. I immediately apologized to Tobias and begged him not to terminate my contract. Then I dragged Hades out of the office and snapped, Hades, what right do you have to make decisions on my behalf? Who do you think you are? If this continues, I'll call the police. Unfazed, he replied shamelessly, I don't care. If you refuse to come home with me, I'll keep making a scene. You're my fiancé. I have every right to ask you to come home. And don't talk to me like that again. It hurts. I was so enraged by his audacity that I could only laugh in disbelief. I was just about to lash out when a student ran up and said someone from the city was here to see me. I turned around, and there she was, Olivia. Chapter 7. I took 2 steps back, putting distance between Olivia, Hades, and me. The two of you can talk it out. I won't be joining you, I said. Just as I turned to leave, I heard Olivia sobbing behind me. Cassandra, why are you leaving when I just got here? Are you doing this on purpose? I know you're still angry at Hades, but you shouldn't have left without saying a word. Even if you didn't want to marry him, you could have told him beforehand. Now he's been humiliated in front of his friends and family. I had no interest in her passive-aggressive remarks, so I shot back, didn't I leave my wedding dress for you? Since you're so obsessed with Hades, you should just marry him instead. I've already given you such a golden opportunity, so how could you waste it just like that? Olivia's eyes brimmed with tears as she began to sob. Cassandra, how can you slander me like that? There's nothing going on between Hades and me. If I'm the reason you won't come back, then I promise to leave him and never appear before either of you again. She nearly collapsed into Hades' arms from how hard she was crying, and I could feel a headache rising from all the noise. Seeing that I remained unmoved, Olivia fell to her knees and began to beg. Cassandra, please, I beg you, please return with Hades. I admit that I've fallen in love with him, but I never thought of taking him from you. I'm sorry, I will leave, I just ask that you return with him. Cassandra, please accept my apology. Suddenly, she moved forward and hugged my leg, pleading with me to go back with Hades. His eyes filled with pain as he quickly pulled her off me. This has nothing to do with you, he said to her gently. You don't need to beg for forgiveness. It's my fault for being useless. I've let you suffer under my care. It's all right, we don't need to beg her. Let's just go home. Then, he turned to look at me with hatred in his eyes. He asked Olivia to head down the mountain and wait for him before turning to me coldly. Cassandra, are you sure you don't want to come home with me? You'd better not regret it later. I shook my head, refusing to entertain whatever act he was playing. Hades, do I need to expose all your disgusting behavior just to get you to stop? Do you truly not understand what you've done? That day, when you went into Olivia's room to grab her underwear, you held her black lingerie like it was some kind of sacred treasure. You even raised it to your nose and sniffed it repeatedly. Do you have any idea how revolting your expression was? I'm telling you now, not only did I witness it, I filmed it. Do you want me to show you the video to jog your memory? If you're still claiming your relationship with Olivia is innocent, I'll send that video to your family group chat. Let them decide what they think of your so-called innocence. Hades' face darkened as he stared at me, clearly shocked that I would confront him like this. After a while, he turned around and started down the mountain. Chapter 8. Hades didn't show up again after leaving. Not long after, I saw Olivia post a wedding invitation on her Instagram. Seeing that they were finally married, I sighed in relief. The pain I had carried from my previous life was behind me. In this new one, I was determined to live well. However, one night, I received a call from an unknown number. It was Hades. He was drunk and slurring as he complained, "Cassandra, I just realized you're the only one who truly treated me well. Did you know Olivia and I fought today? She called me a useless, disabled piece of shit. She didn't even stop to consider how I ended up like this. I risked my life to save her and lost my leg in the process. And now, she's mocking me for being a cripple. How could she treat me like that? Cassandra, you were always so good to me. Even when we argued, you never spoke so harshly. I miss you. I miss the times when we were together." Suddenly, the line crackled with static, and the phone was snatched away. Then, I heard Olivia's voice. "Miss Channing, Hades is drunk and rambling. Don't take anything he says to heart. He won't remember a thing in the morning. And let me remind you, Hades is my husband now. I do so appreciate other women ogling my man. If you keep flirting with him, I won't hesitate to show up at your workplace and make a scene. Then all your superiors, colleagues, and students will see you for the slut you are." I laughed, completely unfazed. "Olivia, I hope you and the man I discarded stay together forever. And you'd better keep him on a tight leash. Don't let him harass me again." Olivia roared from the other end, "You don't need to worry about that." For a long stretch, peace returned. My days became fulfilling. I fell in love with the mountain and with the children I taught. Just when I thought I'd spend the rest of my life in serenity, Hades reappeared. The villagers stopped him as soon as he arrived at the foot of the mountain, refusing to let him enter the school. He begged them to tell me he wanted to meet, but I declined. Then, instead of leaving, he settled in a nearby town. Unable to reach me by phone and blocked from entering the school, he began writing letters, which he handed to students to deliver each day. Each letter was like a miniature essay, full of groveling and apologies. He wrote, "Cassandra, I'm sorry for making you suffer so much before. I only found out that those screenshots you sent me weren't photoshopped. They were real. I stumbled upon Olivia's Instagram posts. She had set them so that only you could see them. That's when I finally learned the truth about what she did to you. I was wrong, you warned me, but I chose to believe Olivia's side. I thought you were just jealous. But I see it now, you're the one who truly loved me. Since I became disabled, Olivia has treated me with nothing but disgust. She's completely forgotten that I saved her life. I've seen her true colors. I'll divorce her. I'll end everything with her. Please, Cassandra, come back to me. I've always loved you." My obsession with Olivia was just momentary. She clung to me, seduced me with the allure of forbidden romance. I lost control. I made a mistake. But it's just the kind of mistake any man would make. I promise it won't happen again. Please, let's make up. His words dripped with excuses and sleaze. I felt sick just reading them. Without hesitation, I tossed the letter and all the unopened ones into the fire pit and watched them burn. Chapter 9. Hades chose that exact moment to show up. He disguised himself as a farmer delivering vegetables to the school and entered the grounds with 2 baskets. When he saw all the unopened letters tossed into the fire pit, his eyes instantly turned red. "Cassandra, I poured my heart into those letters. How could you burn them all? Do you really care so little about my feelings?" His words made me laugh. "Hades, you and Olivia are already married. Your feelings for me only disgust me. What's there for me to care about?" He tried to retrieve the charred remains of the letters, but burned his hand in the process. Ashamed, he turned to me and roared, "Cassandra, why are you nitpicking over the fact that I'm married? I've already said I'll divorce her. Didn't you promise to love me forever? If you love me so much, shouldn't you feel honored and happy now that I've come to find you?" I never thought Hades could be so shameless. How could a person sink so low? I didn't want to continue arguing, but he refused to leave. "Cassandra," he said, "I won't leave until I win you back. I've already contacted my lawyer and filed for divorce. I've reclaimed my right to pursue you. You made a promise to stay by my side forever. You can't go back on your word." I laughed again, speechless. "Hades, my promise came with conditions. Did you forget I also said I'd leave you if you ever cheated on me? Also, I don't love you anymore." He looked at me, dumbfounded. "But I'm prepared to divorce her. I won't cheat on you ever again." "Cassandra, don't say such hurtful things, all right? My heart aches. You can touch it if you don't believe me." I stepped back, maintaining distance, and asked a student passing by to inform Tobias about the situation. Hades' eyes filled with tears. Cassandra, are you really going to be so cruel? I admit I used your love to hurt you. Even everything I said just now was based on the belief that you still love me. I never imagined you'd stop. How could you just fall out of love like that? He reached out to hug me, but I shoved him away. Immediately, he fell to his knees before me. Cassandra, please don't look at me with those cold, emotionless eyes. It terrifies me. I still love you, and I can't live without you. Please, give me another chance. Let's start over. I swear I'll cherish you this time. He begged and pleaded bitterly, but my heart remained unmoved. Then his phone rang with the custom ringtone he'd set for Olivia. He declined the call once, but it rang again and again. He looked at me and I gestured for him to answer. Reluctantly, he picked up. The moment the call connected, Olivia's shrill voice blared. Hades, you useless piece of trash. Where are you? You've been gone so long. Did you go chasing after that bitch Cassandra again? Let me tell you something. You're not getting a divorce or crawling back to that slut. I don't care if you hire 100 lawyers, I'll never divorce you. Also, I have good news. I just found out I'm pregnant. Chapter 10. Olivia continued, Hades, I've already told your family about my pregnancy. Your grandfather said he'll take back all your shares and freeze your bank cards if you don't come home and live out the rest of your life with me. Hades, your grandfather's patience has limits. He said if he doesn't see you in 2 days, you don't need to return at all. You're already disabled. Without your grandfather's support, you're just a piece of trash. Do you really think Cassandra would still want someone like you? After the call ended, Hades laughed bitterly, his voice trembling. Cassandra, I'm disabled now. If I become penniless someday, would you still love me? I smiled softly, meeting his eyes. Hades, I just don't love you anymore. Your financial status has nothing to do with it. There's no going back for us. You should leave. After a long while, he finally said, You're right. Cassandra, who used to love me, was pure and kind. I was a fool to think she'd love me forever. He gave me one last silent look before turning around and limping away. Watching him disappear into the distance, I sighed in relief. It was finally over. About half a year later, I heard news about Hades from my best friend, Leanne Jones. I was slightly taken aback to hear his name again. Leanne told me that Hades treated Olivia poorly after returning home. They fought frequently, and he would spend his nights drinking in bars after every argument. Sometimes, he'd even disappear for days. After giving birth to a baby girl, Olivia's temperament underwent a drastic change. She was no longer the gentle, composed young woman. The Emerson family was disappointed and began urging them to try for a second child. Olivia, disgusted by Hades' disability and the 10-year age gap between them, refused to sleep with him after the birth. Hades was rarely home and often went missing for long periods. Eventually, Olivia grew suspicious. She believed Hades still had feelings for me and constantly fought with him over it. Her resentment deepened. Around that time, a young, wealthy heir accidentally crossed paths with her. She couldn't resist and cheated on Hades. After that, her disdain for him only grew worse. Hades eventually discovered the affair. They fought bitterly, but Olivia refused to stop seeing her lover. In the end, Hades caught them in bed together. Olivia defended her lover, while the man insulted Hades for being a worthless cripple. Enraged, Hades grabbed a knife and stabbed Olivia's lover. Both men died from the struggle. When the Emerson family learned of the incident, they cut off all financial support and expelled Olivia. Spoiled and unprepared for life on her own, she couldn't find a job. Out of desperation, she targeted a wealthy older man to provide for her. But he had lied. He wasn't divorced. Olivia only found out when his wife came knocking. The woman assaulted her. Unable to survive in the city after that, Olivia vanished without a trace. After hearing all this, I didn't feel the satisfaction I thought I might. Perhaps it was because Hades and Olivia no longer mattered to me. Once I hung up the phone, I turned around and saw my students rushing toward me. As they ran, they called out, Ms. Channing. Seeing them, my smile was as bright as the sun. The end. And that's a wrap on today's reading here at Booked for Drama. If you felt anything, rage, swoon, secondhand heartbreak, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your fellow drama lovers. If you have any requests, drop them in the comments. Until next time, keep reading, and keep the drama on the page.